It's never been more clear for the San Antonio Spurs after another heartbreaking loss to the Los Angeles Lakers and a Spurs team that couldn't quite keep their lead throughout the entire game. A lot of fans are calling for De'Aaron Fox to return to action as that will not solve the problem, but it's very clear that the San Antonio Spurs need a spark, and that is the number one source. But we got to also dive into Victor Wembanyama, what went good, what went wrong, and what Mitch Johnson and even Stephon Castle had to say about his performance, Jeremy Sohan, Kelly Olynyk, and much more. And look, this game was not what anyone really wanted to see, right? Like, there was a lot of good and a lot of bad. At the end of the day, all we can do is move on from this performance. But here's the box score in case you guys didn't see much of the game. Very balanced scoring effort. I mean, I just want to highlight right off the bat some of the, again, great balance here in terms of rebounding, in terms of scoring, in terms of even assists, right? Vassell getting 4, Wemby getting 3, Barnes getting 3, Castle getting 8, Olynyk getting even 3 in his 9 minutes. That was a really nice sign for San Antonio. And the three-point shooting, 39%, really not bad. That's above league average as well. And I also got to say, Jeremy Sohan, did it ever feel good to have him back in the lineup? I mean, he came in and he was also knocking down free throws. Nice little, I don't know if I want to say a new little free throw routine or anything, but it looked smooth. He shot very solid from the line. I think 3 for 4, 6 for 7 from the field. And you can make your jokes about that. But also his defense looked very solid as well. So coming back from that wrist sprain, looked pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. So I'm very excited to see how Jeremy Sohan can help change the way that this, where's the box score, that this team looks going forward. You know, it's just one little piece that's going to play a grander picture in the San Antonio Spurs. But look, there's no reason to not dive into Wemby right away. And look, I mean, he fouled out there with a minute and a half to go. Only the third time he's ever fouled out, I believe. He did get his nice little block there on DeAndre Ayton, a nice slam on Bronny, but it was not his best performance either. And again, a lot of people, maybe fairly, maybe unfairly, are calling out this performance. Some people saying, he doesn't have that dog in him. Some people going as far as to say, wouldn't be surprised if he were to sit out next game. It's beyond clear he's not 100%. And I want to say that I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Victor Wembanyama is just struggling with new defensive coverages against him. Now, JJ Redick after the game did say that the Lakers were not sending anything new at Wemby, and Mitch Johnson even did a good job of coaching in a lot of situations. But, you know, these numbers are still not inspiring that superstar MVP level confidence. But maybe they don't need to. And I want to dive into what Wemby himself said. And this is very revealing again for what him and the team are going through during this stretch. Again, reminder, without De'Aaron Fox and without Dylan Harper, which I'll dive into even more further later. But Victor Wembanyama says learning to navigate a new defensive scheme being thrown at him in real time is the hardest part of this season so far. And this just makes me think of that Kevin Garnett talk that he had. Him talking with KG being so full of praise for Victor Wembanyama. This is the kind of thing, mentally, gotta just be like, I am that dog, I am that killer. I've even seen people say, like, they miss three-point shooting Wemby. I think that's maybe a bit of a stretch. Like, he only shot 0 for 2 today. I think he's shooting 35%, not even 30% on the season, I think. He's not taking very many threes. But I'm seeing some people saying, look, to be fair, if defenses were afraid of that 3 ball, they would fall for his fakes more. They were falling for his pump fakes a lot last year. The dude was shooting 9 threes a game. This year, he's only shooting like 3 threes a game at a low percentage. So teams are totally okay just kind of leaving him there. Like, he'll knock him down when it matters, but he's not forcing it. But, you know, still, I wouldn't mind seeing Wemby demand the ball a bit more. And, you know, even the coaches and even Stephon Castle and this is the one I want to go to. Mitch Johnson saying he isn't worried about Victor Wembanyama offensively, said he's just going to have to be more demanding of the ball. And if he's not getting it, Mitch Johnson basically said, oh yeah, yell at everyone on the floor, yell at me. And Stephon Castle doubled down on that. So no one on the Spurs staff is worried about Victor Wembanyama on offense. And I think that's fair. Look, he should yell at everybody in the gym, including his teammates and me. So yeah, I mean, I would agree. Victor Wembanyama, I think it'd be great if he demanded the ball more. You have that killer instinct, but at the same time, I would also not mind seeing more plays run for Wemby. These slip screens, they work to some extent, but maybe not as much as they were before. And look, I don't know. I'm not going to try. I don't know more than Mitch Johnson. I don't think any of us do. And I think, you know, it's not a horrible performance. I just wish we could see maybe a little more from Wemby, but his teammates got to hit some more open shots, I think. Look, we shot 39% from 3. It's solid. at the end of the day, having better teammates is going to make this team better. And I think, seeing Jeremy Sohan was really good. Olynyk's defensive minutes were not very good. Here's the thing, only getting 9 minutes in a game where you're the only other center that plays beside Wemby is not a glowing review, but I think that Kelly Olynyk, especially once Kornet is back, is really going to find his niche, and he's going to be able to hit some threes. Did not love his defense in the paint, but it is what it is. But to me, again, the thing that's never been more clear is the point guard, and I don't want to say issue, but the point guard situation, right? So we go here. This is what I showed earlier by accident. Matt Guzman asked Victor Wembanyama about Stephon Castle and his turnovers while he takes on more facilitation in lieu of De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper. We trust him with the ball in his hands. It's not a worry at all. And right away, I'm like, that's calming, right? I like to see that. And Stephon Castle did struggle in more ways than one yesterday. He did have 3 steals, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 16 points. Like, Castle every single game is kind of doing a bit of everything. His defense is still looking incredible. 9 for 11 from the free throw line. He's getting to the line. His 3 wasn't as good last night as it has been against some other teams, but the 6 turnovers is a bit of a struggle, and it's clear as day. It's very clear that Stephon Castle has some growing pains playing that primary point guard role. But I want to also play devil's advocate a bit here, because I think just like we saw maybe even a bit with Sohan, even Point Wemby a bit, you can't learn if you don't get to play those reps at the NBA level as that point guard. And Stephon Castle kind of doesn't have much of a choice right now. Now, look, Jordan McLaughlin only played 3 minutes last night. Lindy Waters being healthy. Thankfully, Waters, Olynyk, and Sohan all being back. Waters was able to kind of hold his own a little bit, though he's really not that much of a facilitator. 0 assists in 14 minutes. The assists really came from a lot of our starters, even Kelly to some extent. But, like, Castle being that primary playmaker, I think can work, but it's obvious that that's not his primary thing. And Mitch Johnson said regarding De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper's injury recovery timeline, we can probably knock on wood. I don't even really know what that means, Mitch. That's not really the situation I would use knock on wood on. Unless it means, like, they're going well, knocking on wood, hoping that it stays going that way. Look, it's very Spursy. This is such a Spurs response to this question, but, like, at the end of the day, after watching that game and thinking about that game even into this morning, it's like the only thing I can think of is that De'Aaron Fox will change this team. And Stephon Castle even had to say, like, the thing we got to do is hold those leads late. I think I had that quote somewhere, but I have so many pictures that I think where is it here? Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, Stephon Castle. Once we have leads, we need to be able to keep them and not let teams fight back into the game. And part of it, no, not that. Part of it is the bench unit really being like Sohan and Olynyk and Johnson were pretty solid. I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's not like the bench unit is terrible, but that depth at point guard is just something that is missing right now. And not having like an actual point guard to play minutes when Stephon Castle can't play it is not great. And not having a good enough defensive backup center to help shelter Wemby's minutes a bit, or really just take over Wemby's not on the floor, is also not helping. Like, the fact that Biyombo didn't play tells you, I think, what the coaching staff thinks of him, even though his defense in the paint is much better than Olynyk's, but Biyombo's like advanced metrics are also really, really bad. So the fact that Olynyk couldn't even get 10 minutes in a game where Luke Kornet is out is not a great sign, but I'm sure he will improve. It's his first game back from injury. That's okay. Luke Kornet is a big thing. Needing him back. It just feels like Wemby with Luke Kornet is a different beast, but also Wemby with like a real good point guard is really good too. And Dylan Harper, maybe I don't want to put him in that echelon yet, but Wemby's play with Dylan Harper has looked exceedingly good. Wemby's play of the past with Chris Paul has looked really good, and I'm really curious to see how it looks with De'Aaron Fox. So leave your thoughts on this down below. To me, it just feels like Fox and Kornet, like, obviously, 2 of our more important pieces. It's going to be great to have them back, but the Spurs have been struggling without them, and there's going to be growing pains. It's a young team. There's a lot of young guys, and I fully anticipate this team to bounce back from this. 5-0 to 5-2, that's all right. It's 2 losses straight. I think that's okay. It's just 2 losses in the grand scheme of things. The Spurs have a lot of time to make these losses up. Yes, they couldn't beat a shorthanded Lakers team in a game that was horrible to watch because of all the whistles, and the Lakers really annoyed me, if they didn't annoy me enough already, but we put that behind us. We look at the future. We look at the injury updates, and we're excited to go for the next one. Leave your thoughts on all this down below. That'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest, and if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in every single day. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.